What is up, you muffin munching muggles? Welcome to Fiction and Reality, where we help you, yes, you become the most devilishly gifted human that you know you are and that you knew you always could be. Are you scared of something? Today we're going to be talking about... Oh, it's gone. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about...
Do you want to play a game?
No, I don't. Alright, let's just jump right into it, right? Why do we love fear in fiction? And what is the power of fear in fiction? Well, it's the same reason many people jump out of airplanes without a chute and plop their keister flat into one of those rail rockets and plow 1,000 miles per hour against gravity. Who doesn't love a good old heart-stopping thrill? Yes, the thrills, the palpitations, the cold sweats, the same reason you sleep with a nightlight and binky in your mouth, thinking that every creak in your house is a squilling rat or IRS rep creeping, tiptoeing to find your unfiled tax returns.
Hello, my name is Kyle and I am with the IRS and I think your computer has a virus.
Or maybe every itch creeping across your skin is a spiny little spider crawling across, or a oily snake slithering through. Or maybe it's a visage of land sharks that's flashing before your eyes. And this thrill, this fear, holds monumental power with regard to contouring a story. And this is just one of the great many ways in which it helps shape it. Hey, let's talk atmosphere. I hope you brought a change of undies or panties, because it's about to get real spooky in here. I'm talking Nutella butter, Jiffy chunks falling right out your crank. Anyway, what can creating a ghoulish atmosphere do for a story? Well, it's extremely advantageous for spindling the strings of tension and compounding and building anticipation toward an inflection point or pivotal moment in your story. Now, what does that look like exactly? Well, creating thickets of black clouds that funnel a wall of smoke around your audience, has frost nipping at their pores and their eyes feverishly beaming about as a click of steps draw louder and louder, and they await gruelingly with their abdomen cramping tight with each step, the shadow that will part the clouds. In essence, a description, either visual or linguistic, can evoke the tactile sensation or fear through psychological torment. Let's take a look at Scarecrow, for example.
You are the product of everything you fear.
Who, through his fear toxin, creates a psychological and both physical trial for Batman to overcome. I mean, just a teeny weeny bit of fear toxin injected into the old saphinus, and you're tripping on cloud 69, speaking to your dead father who's buttoned up in a Ziploc bag.
Father, you should have stood up to him, son. Like a man.
And what about the giant Scarecrow playing peekaboo with you? Just the very design of him makes your skin pinch up. Syringes for fingers, daggers for teeth. Chunks! Behold, this is the utility of the fear factor, brazen in both its ability to pose a test of moral ambiguity, riddled with psychological horrors unknown to man, and tactile sensation of impending doom. How else does fear pull us in and push forward these stories? Well, by building uncertainty and tension, just like in the Saw movies, right?
Do you want to play a game?
I said no. The traps in the Saw movies build tension through the unknown. The audience has no idea how the trap will work, what it will be, or how it will affect the victim, and the fear of the unknown will always be alluring, like a bass drawn to a lure in the heat of spawning season. So what is the meat and potatoes here? Fear can cause a character to call into question the integrity and morality of the decision they are making, and wager whether or not they have the capacity to bear the responsibility, shame, and guilt that comes with the decisions they make. Moth-eaten by the jaws of fear when deciding who should live and who should die. And this psychological element in combination with the mechanism of uncertainty makes for an unruly recipe, stirring with disaster. Moving onward, we can utilize fear to make the audience uncomfortable. Even at the lowest rung, embarrassment. You know, when the teacher calls on you to answer a question in class and you don't know the answer.
All right, let's hear what Mama has to say on the subject.
Mama say that happiness is from magic rays of sunshine that come down when you're feeling blue.
Well, folks, Mama's wrong again.
No, Colonel Sanders, you're wrong. Mama's right.
Yet another thing to add on my list of things that make me feel uncomfortable. Outlast. There's nothing like a psychiatric hospital filled with variants to do the trick. And what makes this experience even more of a chunk show is the fact that at moments you're absolutely alone in the pitch dark with only a camera that uses $2 batteries from Amazon and needs to be switched out every 2 seconds. I don't know what these guys are eating, but stay away from it.
They're eating the dogs.
Also, I want to talk about how what goes into creating these horrific tones give us that flutter in our heart. Hey, I've got a new recommendation for you. It's a show called Uzumaki, and holy guac could it create an edgy and twisty spiral of a tone. The gray and pallor streaking skies, the death and destruction, and this maniacal obsession with spirals makes you feel like you're trapped inside a casket with screeching spiders and swarming lizards. Appeal to the physical senses and take advantage of the fear of the unknown. The audience doesn't have to overtly know up front what is present, simply that something is lurking and skulking about. Why do you think we fear the shiesty and just in general a masked face or a holstered gun? It's the very presence of those elements that have the potential to inflict harm and activate those primordial flight or fight mechanisms. Sleeping by your lonesome in the thick of night with creaking planks, flickering lights, a window pane slowly screeching open, notice the creaking, flickering, screeching. While you cannot see, you can hear that something or someone is present, blended in with the smoke. I always say fear is like a cocktail, right? Add a little bit of sugary magic snow, illegal lettuce, and sauerkraut, and you've got what you desire. What I'm saying is consider combining the sweet and the sour. One tactic I use when writing my own story and seeking out the fear factor, specifically when creating unique situations or characters whose sole efforts are to elicit these effects, is to take the sweetest thing imaginable and add the kiss of death. You like puppies, right? Aren't they so cute and cuddly? And well, what if a cute little puppy was crunching on kibble mindlessly and then 8 spiny spider legs crunched out of its ribcage and hoisted it on all 8s? Isn't that disturbing? Or maybe you're going for the whole Alaskan bullworm stick, and instead of just being a slithering finger with serrated teeth, maybe human faces are sprinkled about its swampy skin like dots peppered onto a cupcake swirl. My simple rule when concocting a horror cocktail is to curse beauty. Hey, let's talk about survival versus morality. Have you no honor, no grace, no fortitude, no integrity? What better way to make a character fall out on their own code of honor than to place them in a situation where they're aware of the consequences of their actions, whether it's the fear of losing their own life, the loss of a sacred heirloom or precious element, or someone they love. It spices up the plot and adds flavor to their character arcs. I think that's why so many fall in love with Eren Yeager's character. Eren's fear of losing his friends and the world to the Titans drives him to embrace his Titan powers, even though what he wants most is to destroy them all. The devils that trampled his home and devoured his mother. However, when he uncovers the truth about who and what the Titans are, uncovering that the same blood runs through his people's veins, and that their war is not with the Titans, but rather the entire world, the fear of losing it all guides his descent into embracing a path of destruction and havoc, culminating in his willingness to sacrifice others to achieve freedom for his people. Eren's fear pushes him to abandon his earlier dreams of finding peace beyond the walls and toward embracing cataclysm for the sake of peace, bringing up questions about morality and the cost of freedom. And of course, there's Joel's decision from The Last of Us, a story that's set 20 years into a pandemic caused by a fungal infection, which causes its host to transform into zombie-like creatures. Joel forges a father-daughter bond with a girl suspected to be the only hope for a cure and for the survival of humanity. His original mission was to deliver her to a hospital to explore the possibilities of sparing humanity using Ellie. However, the ties he formed with her had become so hardened and rigid and tight, he saw his own daughter and her reflection. In the climax of The Last of Us, Joel is faced with the decision to save Ellie from a group that plans to kill her and use her for a cure. However, the mere fear of losing Ellie and of reliving his own trauma of losing his own daughter to the plague, that combined with a little bit of macrophobia, yes, macrophobia.
Sweet Jesus.
Doctor?
What are you doing in here? I won't let you take her. This is our future. Think of all the lives we'll save.
No! You fucking animal!
Had your boy Joel kind of popping off, that definitely won't come back to bite him at all. As you can see, besides shaping a nightmarish atmosphere, mood, and pulling the cold sweats from your audience, fear has the power to mediate a character's transition from static to dynamic. If managed efficiently, characters feeling themselves obligated to walk a straight arrow path of pacifism, loyalty to their own code of ethics, may throw away their own monk garbs and take up arms. If the threat of extinction from some outside force decides to uproot their place of stability. And so we've seen how fear breathes life into characters charged with the obligation to protect their loved ones and prevent their code of honor from having a fissure sewn through it. But how about through pure selfishness? Many Weasley, wormy, and grimy stories are filled with two-faced characters whose recourse for survival is to veer with whatever side is wielding the golden gavel. That is, they have no loyalty or devotion to anything or anyone except themselves. And one prime example of this is Gollum, who is solely driven by the fear of losing the ring and of course his own life throughout the journey to maintain it within his possession. Like for example, instead of warning Frodo and Sam about the dangerous spider in the cave, a schleb, he leads them into her lair. And that'll get your arachnophobia kicking. Gollum falsely presents himself as a trustworthy guide. His fear of losing the ring and possession of it overrides any sense of loyalty to Frodo, who has shown him kindness and compassion. This act of betrayal exemplifies his willingness to align with whoever benefits him, highlighting his grimy character traits, continuing to build upon the many examples of survivability versus morality using fear. We could also talk about that one mission from Call of Duty.
Remember, no rushing.
Actually, we're not going to talk about that. Alright, so go forth and curse beauty. Yes, curse beauty. The hard ironclad rule on fiction and reality is to create. Write something that makes your Shih Tzu plot in chunks. That makes Jason look like a cute little bunny rabbit. That makes a rated R movie look like a My Little Pony episode. I will leave a link to my socials in the description below. And if you took something from this video, I want you to take a moment to hit that subscribe button below and like the video. It pushes these videos out so that others can take those key tokens that you've gained. So do your fellow comrades a favor. And with that, remember, if ever you're lost in the forestry of words, strip your mind from fantasy and look to the window of the world, and there your mind will run free.